2021 was Aston Martin's first full season in Formula One. They roared onto the scene with Sebastian Vettel, the legendary four-time world champion, in one of those coveted driving seats. Despite some teething problems in testing, Aston Martin gave a solid showing and finished the season in 7th place overall. Heading into 2022 with Lance Stroll and Vettel behind the wheel, Aston Martin have the potential to become regular podium contenders. But it's going to take strong leadership and shrewd investment to get them there.
So you've heard it there from Crofty himself. Aston Martin need a strong leader, and hopefully that is me. Look at the team performance, we've got our work cut out, but welcome back to this new series of F1 Manager 2022. We're going to be taking over Aston Martin, and let me tell you this, we're going to be taking them to world title contenders. First season, we've got Sebastian Vettel, Lance Stroll in the car, Nico Hülkenberg as our reserve driver, already having thoughts about that. Entry in 1959, based in Silverstone, so we're a UK-based Formula One team. As we get into some of the nitty-gritty of managing this team, a little welcome there from Audrey. Cheers, Audrey. Looking to car one. Bahrain's our first race. As you can see on the right-hand side, it's giving us some indication of what we need. And let me tell you, it's a bit of everything. If you look at that, the grid average, we are behind on every aspect. So we've got our work cut out here. Sebastian Vettel in car 1, Lance Stroll in car 2, and Nico Hülkenberg as our reserve driver. I'm already having doubts about that setup. Lance Stroll, not exactly the driver we want. Vettel on his way out in age, and Nico Hülkenberg as a reserve driver. You won't be giving him too much XP in the car. Andrew Green is our technical chief, only rated 69. Ian Gregg rated 65 ahead of aerodynamics. No wonder this team is lacking. Look, we've got two good race engineers. Ben Mitchell rated 84. The first thing I'm going to do though is going to swap that driver pairing to Sebastian Vettel. Sebastian is going to be our main focus. We've got 10 engineers in the team to complete some of our work. 2 scouts, which we're putting to use very early on. And our pit crew is average all the way down. In fact, it's lacking in some areas. Going to put it on front and rear jacks as a training focus. And let's get them scouts into action already as we look at a new technical chief. We've got a lad here, T. Cheong, who is a free agent and rated 79. That'll be great for the team. And I think we're going to scout Alessandro Sinelli from Alfa Romeo as well, rated 80 there. And like I said, about our 2 race engineers, we're actually in the top 10 for both engineers there. There's no need to worry about them. Our car development facilities will need some upgrading. Wind tunnel only on spec 1, CFD simulator only on spec 1. We have 31 million in the bank currently, so it looks like we'll be able to do something. As we think about designing some new parts already, I'm a big believer in having both low and high speed spec parts. So on the front wing, that's what we're going to start doing. Going to go for a low speed performance spec front wing, and we'll do the same with the rear wing and hope we can get them delivered and be using them in specific races. 5 engineers will stick on this, and we want these parts quite quickly, so we're going to go for the rushed option. It does cost 1.2 million to develop, but like I said, we have got just shy of 32 million in the bank, and we need to spend that wisely to get the team up and running. Let's confirm the £1.2 million spend on the front wing. Let's do the same with the rear wing. Five engineers again. We'll get them all on the job, so there's no wasted salaries. Our staff facilities, we could do with upgrading some of these. So we're going to upgrade the team hub. That's going to give us a weekly experience gain. We've not even got a memorabilia room, which is no surprise considering we've not won anything to show off, but we'll build one anyway. And of course the helipad, which has become a little bit of a meme, but we'll upgrade that anyway because they're cheap to do. And the tour centre will get upgraded as well. Let's have a look at new drivers. I think I already know what reserve driver I want to put in, and it's quite an obvious one. Oscar Piastri, 20-year-old, rated 75. We can't scout him yet. We've got no scouts available. But as soon as we can, we'll be on him. Helipad's been upgraded, so we'll be able to fly the chopper in. But here is the one we wanted. Post Bahrain testing results, 17th, 15th, 19th. It's not looking great. It is not looking great in the slightest. T. Cheong, his scout reports come back, and look at when you compare him to Andrew Green. He absolutely smashes him out the park in every single stat. Rated 9 points higher. I think we'll be going in for this. We offered him a couple of contract proposals, which he declined. We've managed to settle on 3.25 million salary over 3 seasons. So we're taking that £1.8 million hit to hire him immediately. Especially if we've got new parts being developed. I don't want to waste them. So with that, let's get into the racing. That's why we're here. We did P3, and you can see 100% track acclimatisation for both drivers, 97 and 100% setup confidence. Just getting to know the cars a little bit on 81% car parts performance knowledge. As we go into Q1, we've got 4 sets of tyres, and being realistic, we know we're not going to get through to Q3. So that gives us a couple to play with. We're going to do 2 flying laps on the first run, and then we'll go back out on a pair of fresh softs to try and get some performance. As we follow Seb round here on his first lap. And it's poor. It's a second off Ocon, a 1:33.6. It's behind the Haas, it's behind the McLaren. Stroll can't beat Vettel, he's nearly 3/10 slower. So we're going to wait until the last couple of minutes, and we'll send both cars out. As Sebastian crosses a line to start his final flying lap, to hopefully set a time that will get him out. Currently P16 and P17. The Williams behind us, as they should be. Yuki Tsunoda in the Alpha Tauri in P18 also sat behind us. Seb needs to find half a second in this lap if he's got any chance of getting him out and putting him through to Q2. So hear them engines roaring around the track. Seb sets a green sector 1 as Lance is just starting his lap now, gets through on time with 27 seconds to spare. But all eyes on Sebastian here. As we're coming up to sector 2 now. Will Seb still be setting greens? Lance will probably just finish off sector 1 in a second as well, so we'll get an update on him. Yep, it's a green sector 1 from Lance. Green sector 2 from Seb. So we potentially are putting in the speed here. Have we got enough performance to get us out of Q1? Remember, on that Bahrain results, we was 18th, 19th, some areas 20th in car performance. As Seb comes round the last corner, uses all the apex. Does he set a green sector 3? He does, but it's not enough to get him out of Q1. He only finds 1/10, it looks like, and that's just not good enough. So all the eyes are on Lance Stroll as he sets a green sector 2. And he has got to find some time. Mick Schumacher gets knocked out by Yuki Tsunoda, so Mick Schumacher also leaving qualifying in Q1. Unless he can set something, Lance Stroll will be hoping to get out here. He goes across the line. And that is not good enough. It is not good enough. So both our drivers knocked out in Q1. Sebastian 17th, Lance Stroll start 18th.
It's race day with the teams and drivers ready and raring to go.
Aston Martin did a good job during qualifying, and they're pretty much where everyone expected them to be on the grid.
So here we go. Here's what qualifying looks like. Leclerc, Sainz, Verstappen, Perez, Bottas, Hamilton, Russell, Gasly, Alonso make up our top 10. You can see an aggressive strategy for us here. We're pushing hard on the tyres. Two-stop strategy. Overtake from the start. Seb with a two soft onto the hard. And Lance is going to go soft at the end. Let's see how we get on as it hits 3 o'clock in Bahrain.
Here we go with the Bahrain Grand Prix. And it's lights out, and away we go.
So there we go, Crofty getting us away from the start. Quite a pedestrian start around that first corner. Mick Schumacher side by side with Sebastian. Just has enough advantage to keep him in front there. We've got both drivers from the start on the overtake mode for the ERS. No positions gained on this opening lap just yet. Sebastian really is on the back of that Haas from Mick Schumacher. With the overtake mode selected, can he make any impression on the opening lap? Already losing a little bit of the fuel due to the aggressive start of this. Both drivers on an aggressive tyre strategy, and with the overtake button on, will gain that fuel back during the race as we look to conserve some tyre. Seb's still looking to make a move on Mick Schumacher here. Obviously Lance won't have the exact same pace as Seb at the minute, being on the hard tyres. Seb on the soft and aggressive. Yuki Tsunoda trying to put a move down there on Danny Ricciardo. We'll just see that out the corner. There's a join back on lap 2. Oh, Mick's run wide. So we take a place off Mick. Multiple crash. Oh, no way. Lance Stroll already has crashed his car. He's picked up a 5-second penalty. We'll need to change the front wing on lap 4.
Look. Now just focus on the Haas.
So what goes on here? He comes across to defend, he brakes.
And
Lance
there's
Stroll.
the collision. It's caused absolute carnage.
Lance Stroll just decides to go right into the back of him, and a 5-second time penalty given to Lance Stroll as well. Penalty for collision caused.
No saving required.
Copy.
So there we go, we're telling Seb, get aggressive on the fuel, on the tyres, on the overtake. Gets past Yuki Tsunoda, and look at that, he squeezes him on the apex.
Nicely done. Save fuel.
Copy.
So Seb copies there on the message as Lance Stroll comes into the pit lane. Can't do any work on the car for a couple of seconds there. It's a great move from Sebastian previously there to get past Yuki Tsunoda. It'll be Danny Ricciardo in his side six, but Yuki Tsunoda's not letting this one die as Yuki Tsunoda goes on the outside. Nicely done.
Stay cool, man, you're doing a good job.
So some encouragement there to Sebastian, who's going to make a move here on Danny Ricciardo. Just can't pull it off. We'll tell him to go aggressive again, but looks like there's a little DRS train happening between these 3 cars. Let's go for the overtake mode. Nicely done. And I will just harvest through these corners where the slow speed as Seb comes into the pit lane for his first pit of the afternoon on lap 18. Lance Stroll still sat back in P20, but remember he has done a pit stop and received a 5-second penalty. So hopefully he gains some places towards the back end of the race, although not too high hopes. Where is Sebastian going to come out? Daniel Ricciardo pits now. We're on lap 19, so 1 lap later. Daniel Ricciardo's coming to the edge of the pit lane. He's in front of the cars, but he has no speed. Yuki Tsunoda, look at Seb weaving. Yuki Tsunoda looks like he slams on the brakes and locks up.
You're doing a good job.
So some positive reinforcement there from... As we're on lap 43 now, we're taking a little bit of a jump.
Box.
As Seb pits for his last stint, 15 laps on the soft tyre to make an impression. And it's just basically been the Ricciardo, Vettel and Tsunoda train back at the back of the grid. We're on lap 54.
Use overtake.
Dropped Tsunoda, who had a bad pit stop. He had a spin as well. And now we'll be looking to push on against Danny Ricciardo. So we've got 1.5 laps left here. Sebastian in front by half a second. A lapped Williams there. Looks like Albon is going to be in the way. Danny Ricciardo takes that place back with DRS, which Seb doesn't have. Now we're going to try something risky here. We're going to conserve the fuel for the rest of this lap. We're going to harvest for the rest of this lap.
Save fuel.
As Seb gets the instruction there. Let's hope this pays off. Let's look at Lance Stroll trying to make a move. So it's actually Latifi who we're lapping there. It's not Albon. But back to Sebastian Vettel. 1 lap left. We're going to push.
They'll come to us.
Okay.
So Latifi's a bit of a nuisance here.
Overtake.
Yeah.
Latifi is a bit of a nuisance.
Be last lap.
Yeah.
So Seb gets told it's last lap. We're pushing on the soft tyre. We're pushing on the fuel. We're on the overtake, on the ERS. Currently half a second behind Danny Ricciardo. DRS dragging us into him right now. Round the corner we go. We've got very high track grip, which is going to suit these soft tyres to the ground. We tell Lance to also push for what it's worth. Just try and get P18 off Alex Albon. But the big push here is going to be down this back straight. Can Seb keep it cool? He's going to make the move here. Is this too early to make the move? We're going to tell him to harvest around this slow corner. He's only got 7% battery left. Down to 2%. Stroll has gained P18 from Alex Albon. Can Sebastian push this car? We'll look from the rear wing view. Daniel Ricciardo's behind, but we don't know what battery he has left. P14 here, although not points, would be a great result. We'll tell him to deploy whatever battery he gains back. We've got the fuel to do this. We've got the tyres to do it. No battery left now. As the engineer tells him, the battery's empty. We'll still tell him to deploy whatever he can. Daniel's getting closer. Daniel's getting closer here.
Just gained by
but
Williams.
we just keep hold of it. P14 for Sebastian Vettel with a great result that is. Let's look at whatever.
Over the finish line and today's
So
winner.
there we go. Crofty lets us know. Max Verstappen wins the race. Charles Leclerc second. Sergio Perez third. That is your podium for the day.
Need to charge up.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, so sounds like Stroll is a little bit worried here by that voice message. We're going to tell him to deploy.
Use energy if you need.
Here we go.
Copy.
Stroll copies that message. Alex Albon less than 2 tenths behind him. We've told him to deploy the battery. Can we hang on to P18? Finishing in front of both of them William cars. Looks to be comfortable, a lot more comfortable than what Seb had with Daniel Ricciardo behind him. Coming up to the finish line, easily done. It's P14 and P18 for the Aston Martins today. Look at the race results here. Verstappen, Leclerc, Perez, Sainz, Russell, Hamilton, Zhou Guanyu putting a great performance. For us, Sebastian gains 3 places, goes up to P14. Lance Stroll holds his qualifying place in P18. On to a quick look at the driver standings. Max Verstappen picks up 25 points. Leclerc picks up 19. Red Bull top of the constructors with 40 points to Ferrari. You can see that's where the battle is. Some driver experience gained, none for Hulkenberg as he didn't sit in P1.